Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. Definitely, I'm gonna beat the whole game today. I will consider this a success if I can beat whatever the investigation day takes. Hopefully with time to spare. Although if I have time to spare, I might need to figure out if I want to start the trial at all, because I feel like that last trial day is a bitch to get through. February 24th, 3:12 p.m. Writing Company Law Offices. On the bright side, if it's already 3:12, that must mean they can't make the investigation take too long, right? There's not enough time in the day. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. Hey, Cap, you have arrived at sad music. On the bright side, that was one of those tiny flashbacks to like 5 minutes ago in game that actually works out kind of nicely, just because of the fact that the streams is almost like a week apart for us. I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dirk killings. Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me. I wonder if they're in those countless legal books that Phoenix is too scared to actually look through. Lana wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean, what happened to you? It's all there in the file. Joe Dirk's last victim was prosecutor Neil Marshall. Also, she says it's in the file, but it's not in our file, because we get like this really abbreviated thing. Because obviously, if they made us read the whole thing, it'd be unwieldy. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me. What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. So that means you... Yes, I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial. I didn't see that one coming. I mean, I've read the file and I know it says she was a witness, but... It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year, too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together when she finished her work. Emma really is Science Maya. Remember? They were all gonna meet up in the office in the second trial just to go out and have hamburgers. Which I think I've learned is ramen, but... Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Dirk. It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Dirk tried to take me hostage, but before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then, what happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck, and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. A permanent picture? What did you see in the instant that crime occurred? Dirk knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently, I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma. You've been through so much. I really looked like Science Maya back then. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago, you must have been 14. That's understandable. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I wanted to be able to fight crime with my testimonies and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lana would never have to forge any. I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. I don't remember the moment when Dirk stabbed Mr. Marshall. So you weren't able to testify about that? No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why she made up the crime. Made it up? You mean, provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged the evidence, and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes, Phoenix. He was the prosecutor. The file's in the court record. Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean. It's all my fault. I could have just testified properly. None of this would have happened. So it's true. Even though he may not have known it, Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. Man, I'm glad that we could know Edgeworth accidentally used false evidence on the very first trial, which totally makes up for the fact that he kept having conveniently updated autopsy reports in those first couple of trials we faced him in. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold, like she is today. She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. Something puzzling. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma. What is it? You said you were in Lana's office at that time, right? That's right. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor? Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. Why did he run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective offices and the questioning room are right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator? Well, Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly. Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force. What? Why didn't you That's news to me. After the Joe Dark case, She was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Uh, Conveniently, she also had passed the bar exam before deciding to be a detective. I guess Lana wanted to be hyper qualified. I can't. Schooling required for both jobs are different. Although, considering how clown shoes a lot of the legal system is here, maybe it isn't that different. That would explain a lot. What if that means Gumshoe could technically be a prosecutor? We would find the one prosecutor worse than Winston Payne. That'd be amazing, though. Lana used to be a detective. I better have another talk with her. Alright. Do I have anything to really present to you? Oh god, I'm scared to do this. Okay, now I can look at this. Oh, okay, that's on the talk. I would need to actually be in the present menu for this. We owe our entire success in court today to this tape. At first, I thought it was a joke. How dare you bring that video back? But it turned out to be a gold mine of evidence. I counted a total of 5 clues in it. It also gave the Blue Badger some publicity. Of the negative sort, that is. Look, I had to know. And then I was also in the wrong menu accidentally. Seems everything is somehow related to this incident. What was it labeled again? The SL9 incident? Yes, the name of everyone connected to this trial is listed in here. All that's left is to figure out just what role everyone plays in this case. If we search hard enough, I think we'll find our answers. What exactly did or didn't Lana do? I'm not sure I want to know everything. You want to say something about this? His fingerprint was left on the locker when Marshall was stashing his bloody coat. I guess that blood wasn't Mr. Goodman's after all. Nope, just that of an overly zealous patrolman who is awful at his job. So there wasn't a murder at the police department at 5:15 in the end. I wonder what's going to happen to Officer Marshall now. We never did find out about this unstable jar. This jar is pretty fragile. It looks like it's about to break apart. What do you mean, about to? It's already broken. I meant it can. This piece was found in Detective Goodman's evidence locker. That means... this is somehow related to that other incident. Only inside detectives. I guess we can also ask her about this. Here, see this? Ah, I've noticed that defense attorneys have a tendency to want to show people things. What is this? Behavioral study of lawyers? Okay, that was just her general thing. Although it gave me a nice excuse to see her little I have glasses on, I'm scribbling on this notepad look. You ever say about the rubber glove? No? Okay. Evidence room floor plans. Okay, I think we could be done then. Alright, well, it sounds like it was directing me here to the detention center, so. February 24th, detention center, visitors room. Lana. Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence? I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we? Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana, Emma told me about you. Oh? About how you were a detective 2 years ago, and how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. Wait a second. We know Lana went to school with Mia, though. So is the idea that we know for sure she had a lawyer's education, but then she was a detective for whatever reason? God, I was joking because it's like if I had to bet dollars to donuts, almost assuredly it's just the fact they weren't gonna make like they're just like I mean you can be educated for both at the same time, right? They're not extensively different when they are. But maybe she's meant to be just hyper competent and she did both. I guess I'd say the probability is not zero. I just wouldn't put it very high. And how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. Oh, that's right. No, I'm right. Sorry. I avoid that joke 90% of the time, but it does kind of write itself in there. Could you fill me in on the details, especially about that unusual change of jobs? I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. Today's trial. A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today, not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one, 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is at 5:15, there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana. What the witness, Miss Starr, said. About you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so phased before. The more worrying thing is this implies that law enforcement doesn't have special training in this one. To explain the gumshoe just stumbled into the job. That would explain some things. Now, that's good would help with being a detective, but it's not like a replacement. Yeah, for sure. But you know, maybe this is just how scathing this is with the satirical elements about the Japanese legal system. Detective Lana Sky. It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. They still talk about all the cases she and Chief can't crack together. Ugh. Lana looks good like this, though. I mean, there's something about just a scarf or muffler when it's on a character the right way. And it helps that Gant doesn't look as evil here. Chief Gant. He was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked the crime scenes. Damon Gant, he was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. Emma, I think that might actually be a little corrupt, in a way. Like, it sounds like actually they were slow to do their paperwork. Which kind of reminds me of Joseph's mentor. Oh, Lisa? Lisa. She does that. She did have that look a little bit, didn't she? Emma really idolizes her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was... literally, there are no requirements. You just walk in, say, I want to be a detective, and they're like, boom, here's your badge and gun. Man, that'd be especially wild because this is Japan, where guns are supposed to be highly controlled. So the idea that you could just walk up, become a detective, and then get a gun. To gain experience investigating crime scenes, so you could use that experience in court, right? Gant's help in the SR9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. Dark investigation. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark. Yeah, you really need to investigate that show too. Like, the timeline shenanigans it gets up to is way too much time travel, and it doesn't seem to be consistent between seasons. And like, just don't get me started on some of the weird character implications. No, sorry. That is like the one time I will do that with the Netflix show Dark. Just because it keeps saying Joe Dirk, so it was, Second in command. That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Yes, Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office and the same investigations. They even had the same office. We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Well, we don't see Gumshoe there, so maybe they had a point. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall, and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite a gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place. When he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us. So obviously, somewhat intentionally, they're playing around with a lot of the same elements of DL6. I ultimately think this case does stand on its own, but I can also see the argument made that it is rehashing a lot of elements of that. But ultimately, I do still really like this case. It just takes forever. Damon Gant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages, and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, and then fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself. That's where he found me. So you were the first person to run to the scene, Lana? It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark. Isn't this a weird picture we're seeing here? When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect, Joe Dirk. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dirk had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. When is Joe Dirk indeed? Joe Dirk though. Man, when is Jonas? Can't blame her after all her sister must have gone through. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident? That's right. Quite a coincidence, I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident just by chance. I just did this shit 2 months ago. But that case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall... Yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. And since his brother died, he's changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dirk. A life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case just might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Dirk at the police department, right? Oh yes, in the office that Damon Gaunt and I shared. The office that Mr. Gaunt now occupies by himself. The chief's office. Okay. That's not how being chief works. The office of chief is a specific office, and when someone is chief, they move into it. You don't become chief and go, well, I like this office, this is gonna... I mean, I guess technically you could. That sounds more like something they just did so they can conserve, which, you know, I don't blame them for it. Just kind of silly. Maybe we should have a look at the chief's office, the site of the final SL9 murder. Is there anything I want to present to you? Do you want to talk about this security video? Attorneys and prosecutors have no business showing evidence outside court. It's taboo, especially when the interests of both parties are involved. She really means it. Lana. Did I present my attorney's badge to her? Okay, well if I did, it's just generic stuff now. Which happens, a lot of times they don't always have them say like the first thing. Okay. Well, I guess let's go to the underground parking lot. February 24th, prosecutor's office, underground parking lot. No, I wanted to go to the detective building. That's fine. No one's here today. Not even Miss Star. Everyone's probably busy looking into what exactly went down in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are. But we proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15 p.m. Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case. But instead it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty. Hang in there, Lana. I've got to find all the answers by tomorrow. Oh, Phoenix. He says as if he ever has all the answers except during the trial about 30 conversation boxes before it ends. Alright. Go back to police department entrance. February 24th, police department entrance. Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall. I never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. Que sera, sera. You never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? Should have known my luck would run out when old Billy dried up this morning. Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? I'm just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance. We all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, well, you can't go in the evidence room today, partner. Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? Why do prospectors head west? If ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, do you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't begin a steak lunch today. Alright, talk. Dark trial. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean fishy? some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. Murder weapon? You mean a switchblade knife with the broken tip? That was Joe Dark's alright, but in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. A question? The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there is a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. Could the facts have been concealed with forged evidence? That case left behind scars on all of us. The scars that the SL9 incident left behind. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in the investigation, save one, was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious. They? Who are you talking about? Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Lana Sky. The investigation lead Damon Gant and his second in command, Lana Sky. Actually, I almost feel like the way, like, let me, no, sorry, wrong thing. I want to hit options. Like, I think it's also the fact that, like, it looks like the way her muffler's coming off is specifically, like, that heroic, like, coming out and then doing, like, a zigzag thing that, I mean, you see a ton, but especially in, like, Japanese media, like, I want to say it's almost something that you could see in, like, even, like, just a Kamen Rider or something. Rider scarf, see? I'm glad that you said that, Cameron, because I only have, like, most of what I know of that is from anime touching on it and homaging it. I've never actually sat down and watched any of those. But even then, because of I've watched too much anime, honestly, it gives me at least a little bit of a frame of reference. I really should just keep that transparent, but sometimes I actually do have it's easier to read it this way. Well, there wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. Oh, speaking of anime, I did start the Sad Elf anime. Hey now, she's really only mostly sad in that first episode. And then she's a vibing gremlin for the rest. Okay, that's not true. She has other moments of reflection as well. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers. How far are you and how do you feel about it so far? I think we just hit halfway. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah, Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. Only got the one episode done. Long day of work. Ah, okay, that's fair. Like, I wouldn't say the first episode is totally that different. That one episode has everything I want in a post-D&D game epilogue. I know, right? It is so wonderfully done. Like, Fear at Journey's End, again, we're only halfway. It's a fantastic anime in general. But if you are into, like, fantasy stories, and especially, like, D&D-esque fantasy stories, I have negative notes to give. She's never been the same since she left. Well, everyone who knew her said so. Had to take notes. Chief Prosecutor Sky was totally different when she was a detective. Now that he mentions it, Emma said something like that too.
Tell me, what happened to my sister?
Sorry, Bambino, but her secret is too well guarded. I'll never find out. On a secret. It all started 2 years ago. I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I had just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together.
How old was he, your brother?
He was 27 at the time. One of these wunderkind bullshit prosecutors like Edgeworth, or especially that Franziska von Kermachik you hear all the time about in Germany somewhere. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor? You mean the King of Prosecutors? I knew it. What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother.
The day the SL9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as...
That's right. It was the day of the evidence transfer. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered. The evidence locker was empty. So there you have it. That's my story. You enjoy it, partner? It was certainly enlightening. There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. Someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after today. Too bad I won't be around to work with you. You become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina. Oh, well, he's gone now. Okay. Wait a second. Do you guys have something new to say about the Blue Badger now that he has haunted an entire day of a trial?
The Blue Badger is still riding around today, mocking us.
Let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's dancing. Dancing in hell, where he will await us when we die, Emma. Speaking of dancing, the whole police department has been dancing about like crazy since the other day. Okay, that was the same as last time.
Can I take out his batteries? I just can't help but feel he's going to do something naughty.
Okay. Burn it down. Okay. I guess from the Criminal Affairs Department. February 24th, Police Station, Criminal Affairs Department. This place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted.
That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes.
Oh, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room. Thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us. With the chief prosecutor saying what she did, and the decision about what to do about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statements to the media in tomorrow's trial, there's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word usually used for those.
Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office.
Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. You're two random civilians off the street, so of course you can go inside to the chief detective's office anytime you want.
Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything. Hey, you're right. You can't go in there. It's off limits. Until you sign this paperwork that says you're actually detectives working here.
Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office.
But Science Maya, he said we shouldn't do it. February 24th, Police Department, Chief's Office. I forgot this motherfucker had an entire organ in his office. Whoa. Where am I?
In the chief's office, silly.
How do you forget the organ? I think because I'm like, no weights on that on the nose.
In the chief's office, silly. At least, that's what it said on the door.
You've been abducted by Science Maya. Panic. Hey, Darth. Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it?
Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Bach.
Wait a second. I have... Emma/Science Maya, I have questions. Why were you learning how to play the organ as a kindergartner? Like, I know you start people on piano lessons young too, but like, the sheer size. Yeah, I guess church would do that. Also, I did not read what Phoenix was saying there. I guess Phoenix was saying, or Emma was saying something like, I wonder what I could remember.
I never could remember where C was.
Oh, it's you two. Chief Gant, you're in your office. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. So, Righto, have you been swimming lately? No, I haven't. Been kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full, too, with Mr. Marshall's misconduct and Lana's provocative statement. Provocative statement. Oh, you mean about the forged evidence. 2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? That's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. We took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it, though. Just look at the fact that, like, when the picture itself looks like it has an object that could be potentially used for violence in it. Anyways, we'll turn the text box transparency back on fully. Or turn it off, I guess. Anyways, as we can see what the issue is here, the King of Prosecutors trophy is maybe not the same. I thought that trophy was a championship belt for a moment. Let's see it a little bit with where the palm of it's placed. Gant team picture added to the court record. Photo at the award ceremony of Gant, Lana, and Neil. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's go out together.
Oh, but this office, it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it?
That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, we'd still like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. He's so cheerful. There's no way he's suspicious and the bad guy.
Looks like we aren't welcome.
Seems that case isn't over with yet after all.
What do you mean? He said it was over.
Chief Gant denied our request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there.
You mean like a clue?
That man has a suit of armor in that room that is holding a weapon. This seems rather threatening. He also has the pipe organ in there that he uses to play his ominous theme song. There's gotta be a way we can get inside the chief's office. Maybe we can find Gumshoe and ask him to help us. February 24th, Police Station, Criminal Affairs Department. Hey, pal. Detective Gumshoe. Aren't you supposed to be in a meeting?
I'm, just taking a breather. My feet hurt. From sitting so long?
Actually, from serving everyone coffee. Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop. Say, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask? No, he's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battle's between you two in court. That sounds serious.
Is it because of what my sister said?
Well, that's basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood. Maybe he's a fan of Pirates of the Caribbean, specifically Davy Jones. Maybe. He's almost as subtle.
Yikes.
Well, we can ask about Edgeworth's crisis. But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Honest Guy is the guilty party here, isn't she? He had a pipe organ in the captain's cabin of the Flying Dutchman. I didn't remember that, but it's been a while since I've absorbed those movies in any way. Honest Guy's the guilty party here, isn't she?
Regardless, a prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they present in court.
Not only that, but as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor has kept him safe from those who don't like him. But now, with this...
Are there really so many people who hate him?
In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know of for making enemies. Which is funny that Gumshoe says that, because I don't think he has either of them. I mean, actually, Gumshoe's not that old. Because we're all old and dying. No.
Hey Dick, keep up the good work.
Yes, sir.
Let's go out for lunch again sometime, my treat.
Yes, sir. Oh, I think these are also meant to be different police. You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir. It seems you don't have any problems with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out.
Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack.
Oh, Gumshoe. Worried about Edgeworth. I know you can actually run those numbers, but I'm curious. Like, the percentage it is. Like, is it like for every 10 Phoenix Edgeworth ships, there's one Edgeworth Gumshoe? I don't know where that would, like, proportionally fall out. Because Gumshoe cares a lot about Edgeworth. Like, platonically, obviously. But people will see what they want to see. But most of those people, I think, are already distracted with their shiny Phoenix and Edgeworth. Pushing the action figures together. Making the dolls kiss. SL9 incident. Actually, I took a look at that file earlier while the coffee was brewing. He seems genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? The only evidence Dirk left behind was during his final attack. His final attack? You mean when he killed Prosecutor Marshall, who was trying to protect some girl? Me. It seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what was it? Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I forget. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, okay? His powers of recollection never fail to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory. Okay, well, we'll do that after we do Dirk's crimes. Sorry, Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. So, seeing Gumshoe say Joe Dark was 42 made me realize, in all likelihood, at some point later in life, I will revisit this game again. And I'll be like, Jesus Christ, I'm older than Joe Dark was. And just a part of me died a little bit more inside. A businessman? What made him take to serial killing? Have you ever done business, dude? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. With his car? So, it was an accident? An accident, yes. But it transformed him into an animal. An animal? He killed a man that witnessed the accident. Then he killed a lady who saw the second crime. He walked by just then, so he killed him too. Then when he was burying the bodies, a jogger came upon the scene and he was killed as well. Finally, he turned himself in. From Maya to Phoenix to Gumshoe to Joe Dark. Yeah. And eventually, when it's really bad, you end up being in the Von Karma to Judge range. And then you're like, well, the Manfred Von Karma, I should specify. Old bag. Oh no. Seems he was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. So he turned himself in. Also, it is kind of interesting to me that this serial killer they're describing, Joe Dark, instead of being like most serial killers who have like separate victims that have like kind of same circumstances, everything, he was a serial killer in the sense of he was having like a bad hitman run where he kept needing to kill someone else to hide what he did until eventually it got so bad he just gave up. Yes, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim, Prosecutor Marshall. That crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Dark was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. That last witness, also known as Emma. Does this even mention? Yeah. Anyways, let's show him the knife. Oh, that's because I'm in court record right now. I want to be in this one. About this? Hey, is that? It has a tag attached to it with the label SL9 Incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of. Well, what are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, that knife's been locked away in a locker.
On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, they suddenly disappeared from the locker and was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler.
That's it. Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me.
Well, what is it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again.
Damn. Emma's right, though. This knife, it was Joe Dirk's, wasn't it? Well, that's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it at. Plus, it had his fingerprints on it, too.
But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right?
That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken.
You don't have to take a good look to notice that.
That's one of those good exchanges that shows why Gumshoe is, the way he is at his job. Yeah, well, anyway, take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in.
Where was it?
The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. It was found deep inside the stab wound. Did it match Dark's knife? You bet, down to the last fiber.
That's pretty conclusive.
Neil's autopsy report added to the court record. Stabbed in the back, died from punctured heart and lung. A knife tip was in the wound. Switchblade knife updated in the court record. The broken tip was found in the victim's body, belonged to murderer Joe Dirk. Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask you one more thing? What is it? If it's money you need, you should ask Chief Gant. It's not money, but it does concern the chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered.
The chief's out now, and his office is locked, but we'd like to have a look around if that's okay.
Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door. Why? Why is this police station set up this way?
What? Really?
Yeah, but if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust. Because no schooling. Yeah, you make a good point.
Breach of trust?
Simply put, I'd be canned. Oh. Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you.
How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's.
Oh, that won't work either. Data was deleted the day he died.
Oh.
I am astonished they actually thought to do that, considering how clown shoes this entire department is. So in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting into that office.
I wonder if there's something you could show him that would make him change his mind.
Like, you know they only did that because, this might be something we need to get later, but I can give a couple things a try. Canteen picture.
Let me share a little advice with you as a detective. If you don't have a clue, keep your trap shut.
Gumshoe, that is the most hypocritical advice you've ever given in your entire life. I'll keep that in mind.
Sheesh.
We might not have anything for that yet. We'll tell him about the Blue Badger. This guy almost made us lose the case today. You owe us.
What are you talking about? He was guarding the bloodstain on that evidence locker with his life. That's more than you can say about most officers nowadays. He would have saved us a lot of trouble if he hadn't guarded it so well.
I have to admit he's right though. Thanks to the Blue Badger, we were able to prove another possibility today. The possibility that another murder took place prior to 5:15 p.m. Is this maybe?
Hey, that's it. That's the King of Prosecutors Award that Mr. Edgeworth got the other day.
Were you at the award ceremony, Detective Gumshoe?
Well, of course, pal. I got an award for diligence myself.
Ah, congratulations. I've already read this before.
I was wondering, why is the award a shield? And why is it broken? Oh, there's a reason. I'll tell you what it is later.
Apparently, he's forgotten. Alright, well, now I'll move around a little bit. You didn't say anything. Edgeworth. Can you talk to Gumshoe for us and tell him to let us into the chief's office? February 24th, High Prosecutor's Office, room 1202. I wonder if Edgeworth is back yet.
There he is. It looks like he's writing something.
What are you doing here? He sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Tough day in court, huh? I've had to live the past 2 years with rumors flying around. What's another allegation to me?
Cheer up, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm rooting for you.
That's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings. So, what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day. Forged evidence. There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all breaks down to, and nothing I can do can erase that fact. But you didn't know, did you? I mean, that the evidence was falsified. The police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, we stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error. My responsibility is the prosecutor in charge. That fact remains the same, no matter what excuses I might have.
Mr. Edgeworth?
I take pride in my work. So tell me why. Why has it all come to this? Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. Tomorrow's trial. Are you up for the trial tomorrow? First last year's trial and now this one. Seems all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves.
Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out on the trial.
Tomorrow is the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I'll bet that's what my superiors are banking on. I never thought that case would come back to haunt me like this. What do you mean? The list of evidence, it seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. It's only half as long as most lists? That is odd. After Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. I may not have been part of the investigation, but I knew what I had to do. Use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect guilty.
That was really the only thing on my mind at the time. Say, you just saw a picture taken around that time. That picture? Something seems strange about it. Day of the crime. Could you tell us again about what happened that day? The day Detective Goodman was murdered. You were participating in a ceremony over at the station, right? I've never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one. Because you were awarded this? Those receiving awards can't exactly skip out on the ceremony. I finished up at the office in the morning, then drove over to the police department. You finished up at the office? Yes, just odds and ends clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. That is, until I was asked to take something back. Take something back? This. Oh yeah, Chief Gant asked you to hold on to that, didn't he? Yes, it was a piece of evidence in a case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office. That's the story we heard yesterday. So you came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to? Oh, that's right. Present. This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gant's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He had just started making a name for himself. Looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy. Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me. Yes? The trophy Mr. Marshall is holding is a little different than yours. Yes, you're right. Ah, I remember now. Remember what? That was what the official prosecutor's trophy looked like until 2 years ago. There's a story behind its design. A story? Sounds interesting. Would you mind telling it to us? It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on. Like the entire game you're playing, right? I wonder what this contradiction could be. King of Prosecutors Trophy. This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with 2 characters. The first means halberd, and the second means shield. Have you heard this story? Me? Oh, sure. Everyone knows that. Why don't you tell it, though? For Emma's sake. Very well. Why is it playing this music? Long ago, in the kingdom of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day, he presented the king with 2 items. The first was a halberd he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon. Wait a minute. Fine, I'll add it to the counter. This feels highly irregular, adding an objection encounter. I'm not even in a trial day. Well, in a trial section. 185. Those claims contradict each other. Very perceptive. But then again, you've heard this story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, the very descriptions of these items discredit them both. But when the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless, and thus the Chinese word for contradiction was born. Oh, I see. So the chipped shield and broken knife symbolize... Precisely so. They symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words, but it's in our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion, even if it results in something as ugly as this. Wow, thanks Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today. That's funny. If that's so, then why were you only given a shield? You'll have to ask Chief Gant. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the award abolished. Chief Gant. King of Prosecutors Trophy updated in the court record. 2 years ago, the halberd was removed at Gant's behest, giving it its current form. Wait a second. Edgeworth, can you hack the system so that Goodman's ID works? Right, please. I'm the prosecutor on this case. You don't expect me to sit here and discuss the case with you over a cup of tea. I'll pass on the tea, just tell me about the case.
Mr. Wright, Mr. Edgeworth just told you no in a very stylish manner.
Whose side are you on anyway? Maybe if I just show him my best evidence, I can get some reaction out of him. Oh, you have anything to say about this? No, okay. What about... Well, I already did the Gant team back here. What about SL9? No, okay. That's fine. Oh man, Edgeworth, this fucking tape, am I right? Ah, he doesn't even say anything about that, damn. Okay. Edgeworth chooses to not believe in this tape existing anymore. I'm gonna rely on that being the case. February 24th, prosecutor's office, mood, underground parking lot. Oh god, her again. Excuse me, would either of you care for a £1/4 of roast beef? Mister, well, I guess she's out of lunches. You certainly are the curious sort, aren't you? Kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple to discover milk. Sure, why not, I guess? It's vaguely related to lunches. Ma'am, stop. Yup. Still, I never thought you'd go digging up that case from 2 years ago. Everyone in this trial was involved in the SL9 incident. Not only that, but the murder occurred on the very day the evidence from that case was due for transferal. This can't all be attributed to mere coincidence. Aren't you forgetting something? You know, that little scene I happened to witness. The instant Lana stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. No matter how much of the past you dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savored when eaten. Mr.'s hatred toward Lana. Yo, is that just a package that... What could that be? Because they're saying it's roast beef here. But it almost definitely isn't roast beef in the original, right? I'm not sure what that's meant to be, though. It all dates back to 2 years ago. I didn't want to talk to Angel Star again. Okay, fine. Dark investigation. Joe Dirk. That's a name I'll not soon forget. We trailed him for half a year. Oh, the pressure. The pressure, like that poor cow experienced when the first human just tried to suck on its... No, shut up, Angel Star. But no. Still, I don't think I was ever more alive than I was then. Those days were steamier than a bowl of hot gravy. I hate her so much. Poor old Jake Marshall, though, must have been going through hell. You mean because of his brother's death? They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate. Her? Lana Skye. My sister. The best of the best were put on that SL9 case. Of course they were led by that legendary duo. Lana and Chief Gant. Legendary duo. Damon Gant and Lana Skye. Gant led the investigation with Lana second in command. They were the best. They solved all kinds of cases together, didn't they? Damon Gant's magnetism in particular was almost unreal.
His magnetism?
By that, I mean his ability to attract evidence. He'd produce the most incredible evidence in the cases he handled.
Incredible evidence? You mean...
Oh yes, there were rumors about him even back then. No one dared confront him though.
I take it she's talking about forged evidence.
Back then, everyone looked up to Lana. All the detectives wanted to be like her.
Really?
Oh yes, myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated anything crooked and always watched out for the other detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake.
Mr. Marshall.
When Jake's brother was murdered, she felt as if she had lost her own brother. If it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would ever have recovered from his shock. That's what makes it all the more infuriating.
Mr.
That's why I'll never be able to forgive her. Why did she have to turn so cold after that?
After case closed.
That legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep up our investigation. That's why we were so shocked over how it turned out.
You mean with the forging of the evidence?
Don't get me wrong, Jodar got what he deserved. Still, it was obvious the evidence produced in court was being manipulated. Items our team never found would suddenly appear, while other items were kept secret.
But you don't have proof anything illegal was done.
I'm proof enough of what happened. After that case, all of us, save Goodman, were relieved of our duties, most without even so much as an explanation. Then Lana Skye transferred to the prosecutor's office and became chief prosecutor.
Lana always wanted to be a prosecutor.
Nothing's quite as simple as it appears.
Huh?
Lana Skye was merely being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter.
She was being used. Being used. Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office 2 years ago, didn't she?
Yes, thanks to Chief Gant's powerful influence.
Chief.
That's right. Having solved the SL9 case, his position as chief was secured. There was only one thing left for him to control, and then no one could stand in his way. The prosecutor's office.
What? You mean... That's why Lana was transferred.
If he could control the chief prosecutor, he could control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along.
But how could he control Lana?
I don't know, but one thing's for sure. Ever since that case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude there must have been a reason for her change. At last, I'm finally getting close to the bottom of this ugly mess. Thank you, mister. You listen to me, rookie. It takes more than just ingredients to create fine cuisine. I hope you turn out to be a better chef than I've been.
You know what this kind of reminds me of? But we're not there yet. Which makes me feel like it feels like the fact... Why is she not in prison? Look, why are half the characters in this case not in prison right now? She's just maybe the worst. But a lot of this feels like setup for going back to a person and using a mechanic from the second game onward, where Phoenix has a spiritually charged Magatama he uses. Well, I say second on. It's not in the fourth case at all. It shows up later, but because Phoenix isn't really a protagonist in that. Well, no, wait. No, it's in Apollo Justice, isn't it? At least a little bit. What do I feel like I remember seeing, like, Kristoff with Cyclops? Yes, okay. It just doesn't have much of a chance to show up there. He gives it to... No, because Apollo has his stupid bracelet. So this is something Real Maya gives him. Yes, which is why they couldn't have it be... Because it feels like some of the writing in this is giving us evidence, because the big thing that the Magatama introduces in the second one is you actually interrogate people using it, basically. Which is its true function. It just gives it a more obvious gameplay flavor. But the way some of these things are presented, I feel like I can see like the bits and pieces where if that mechanic did exist in this first game, they would be using it. Okay, well now that we have that, I mean, it's updated that. Is that enough for Gumshoe? So the Phoenix Wright universe, magic just straight up exists as well. Yes. Although it's primarily just spirit medium stuff, spirit stuff. In the fourth game, you actually get, like, there are stage magicians, but that's actually just stage magic. Oh, God, I guess technically that's in the second game, too, because that's with the circus case, right? Still magic. But the sixth game, called Spirit of Justice, also has its own kind of spirit mechanic thing going on. Let's go here. February 24th, Police Station, Criminal Affairs Department. Oh, you're back. You're still here? Well, I gotta make 150 copies of these files. Brewing coffee, copying files. Well, I'm turning into a regular DJ. You're a DJ as well? If I'm not mistaken, I think he means desk jockey. Are ghosts and psychics really magic, though? It is fair. So it makes sense magic exists. I mean, Phoenix Wright is technically an anime, so it makes sense magic exists. I see that's the point. And in fairness, I do see Captain's point, too. There are things where, like, if there was probably more psionics, actually. Well, if you follow Pathfinder 1.8, yes. Also, hey, Dill. Like, I think we can say it depends on the edition. Dill and Durth both with kind of different ways of saying the same thing there. There's psychic magic. Oh,
that DJ. I gotta admire your persistency, but my answer is still no. I'm not letting you in the chief's office, period. It'd be my neck on the line. Office is the last crime scene in the SL9 incident. I have to take a look in there. There's gotta be something we can do to make the detective change his mind.
Like if I could just make him think. Like all I need to do is make him think he needs to do it to save Edgeworth, and he'll do it. That's the same thing. Okay. Okay. Here's something different.
Say, this design's based on an old Chinese parable, right?
Yeah. Everyone knows that. Well, there was this, dragon. Yeah, that's it. A dragon.
Speaking of D&D and Pathfinder.
He had a thing for shields, see?
That's not exactly the version we heard.
No, but this one sounds more exciting.
Anyway, it gets kind of gory after that. I'll spare you the details.
The entire book, Occult Adventures, which gave us a psychic class, which uses psychic magic. Huh.
This ID card belongs to the detective. Victim, Detective Bruce Goodman. You can do just about anything these days with a card and a secret number. Scary.
It's only scary because you keep dropping your card, Detective Gumshoe. Also, I didn't even check. He probably has new talk dialogue options.
I forget my secret number a lot too. Well, I'm scared of myself. But I'm me after all, and what could be wrong with that?
I think I'll stay out of this conversation. Question. My brain went on a journey. Are Jedi Force ghosts undead? Okay, so this is interesting, right? I think they're undead in the same sense that Raven Queen Revenants are undead. In that there's undead, which is the perversion of something being dead and is wrong, and there's undead where something is more like to the side of it for whatever reason. I would put this in the same camp actually as in like Final Fantasy VII, there's the life stream, right? And you can do stuff from the life stream. But that's not undead per se, that's a mechanic in the world. But also that's a soul doing something in there. That's also weird too because their life stream means that its afterlife is still physically there, but you know. Personally, I'd say no in a way that flesh clones aren't. They're a construct. Oh, I can see that. That's fair. I don't actually know the full thing about it. I'm not actually sure. Is a Force ghost? It's not the spirit's actual. Is it more like an imprint of themselves on the Force in that sense? That's because they remain aware of who they were in life. I would assume that the life stream was made up of the animating life energy that makes up the soul. While the personality moves on to an afterlife. That could be the case. If so, you can clearly stick around for at least a little bit. Since I'm surviving on it in a non-corporeal state. Okay. No, okay, so it's not that. So I do need to present something then. What do I need to present with you? What updated? Probably not this. Not that. Not that. Not that. Actually, wait a second. Do you know anything about the screwdriver? No, okay. Said that's something similar but more wraithy. That does not surprise me. That's not bad though, because there's the element of a lot of the Jedi and Sith stuff where, and I'm sure a lot of this has been scrubbed out by Disney, but a lot of times they just get similar toys from the other one, which I think is fine. Like, look, the idea of the Force Ghost is cool enough. The idea of an evil Sith Force Ghost is just as fun in its own way. They would be intelligent, but incorporeal undead. I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't say Force Ghosts are undead, but I also feel like that's one of those things where I would, you know, like basically, if I was, you know, like let's say a Force Cleric was using Force Turn undead and it affected a Force Ghost, or it didn't affect the Force Ghost, I would be fine whichever way the DM ruled that. That's kind of my opinion on them. Like, personally, I feel like undead doesn't capture them the way I would say it does, but also I can see any of those arguments for it, you know.
Well, that's the ID card record, isn't it?
Yes, there's only one number left to investigate at 4:20 p.m. The victim, Detective Goodman, must have entered the evidence room along with someone else. Someone with an executive officer number.
777777777.
It's 17 too many, Detective. An executive officer? I just might have a hunch. Was that it? No? God damn it. As they pulled an ancient from Stargate and they ascend to another plane, which is the source of the Force. Impossible. Oh, God, I need to figure out something to present to you, my dude. About this.
Hey, is that?
Okay, it's the same thing as earlier. Okay, that was the same there. Because remember, Obi-Wan's body vanished before Vader struck him. And when Yoda died, his body vanished. This is true, actually. I don't know if that remained consistent throughout the rest of them, but in at least the original trilogy. I already did this. Yeah, because you mentioned that. Luke vanished. Okay, before it was fully burned. You don't see it vanish. Yeah, that was the same thing I already saw. I don't know why those would change. Detective, here's my attorney's badge.
You show this to me every time we meet, pal.
Really? Okay, it's the same thing. So did Ben and Leia. That makes it extra weird to think that the bodies become... well. It's weird. I played a fair bit in Star Wars tabletop. But I have one of the, like, smallest foundations in Star Wars of, like, all my nerd friends. I still have not seen episodes 8 or 9. Because basically, in the lead up to The Last Jedi, the discourse reached that point where I was like, you know what, I think I am done with this thing for now. Well, if it's the last second ascension the Jedi dies, it makes sense that the pipe is. Also, we know necromancy exists and Thrawn has zombies. Good to know. Wait a second, does this maybe... Oh, this guy almost made us lose the case today.
What are you talking about? He was guarding the bloodstain on that evidence locker with his life. That's what you can say about most officers nowadays.
Okay, I think this is mostly the same, actually.
It would have saved us a lot of trouble if he hadn't guarded it so well.
I don't think Minnie's right, though. Prove another possibility. God damn it. What do you want from me, game? Fine. I'll do the thing that I really don't want to do, but I should have been doing while I was talking about all this, makes sense. Also in the old canon, the Sith had fallen sorcery, Sith alchemy was a thing. Like, I should have just been going through this while we were discussing Star Wars stuff. Snoke was made from Sith alchemy, I think. Oh man, the name Snoke. Time to rub everything on everything? Exactly. Like, I don't know what it is about this case that keeps making me hit this point.
I've been setting up on those files. There's nothing wrong with Mr. Edgeworth's presentation. To think people are accusing him of injustice.
First, always use your badge. I've already done that a couple times.
But I, for one, ain't buying it, pal.
You're looking into the case for Mr. Edgeworth?
Yeah, it was a pretty big deal while it was going on, you know. After all, a serial killer was on the loose.
But Lana was pretty clear in her confession. She forged evidence in order to prove Joe Dark guilty. Alright. Otherwise, no one will know you're an attorney in this universe. Okay, that's not that.
I can't believe Officer Marshall would do something like that.
You know Officer Marshall?
Of course I do. He was like a mentor to me. When I first started out, he even gave me a small cactus. It died. I didn't water it enough.
Really?
He said, Dick, she'll listen to all your troubles.
Note to self, Detective Gumshoe talks to a cactus.
Hard to believe he's just a patrolman now. Someone ought to trade places with him. What? Why are you looking at me like that?
Gumshoe, I ate the cactus. Actually, you know what, Darth? Considering the malnutrition he faces as his salary gets cut with every single case he fails at, I could believe he would eat a cactus. I don't even know if they would have much nutritional value, considering I think you primarily only use them as a way of getting water in the desert.
About that juror. I think I've seen it before somewhere.
Somewhere?
Or maybe it's one of those memories people have from previous lives.
This must be the most uninformative detective I've ever met.
Something about it makes me feel uneasy. It's like I'm in the chief's office and he's yelling at me.
Chief Gant?
Where could I have seen that before?
Oh my god! I forgot that it was in this picture. How did I not notice that? I was distracted by the prosecutor trophy and the obvious weapon in the suit of armor conspicuously in the picture. But is that enough to have you let me in? No? What about if I present this picture to you now? Keep thinking that trophy is a belt. The vest being right behind it. Oh.
No locker can be opened without a fingerprint match. Besides, there's no reason for the murderer to touch his own locker.
Hey, wasn't your locker the one with the blood on it, Detective?
The handprint of the real murderer's gloved hand. That ain't fingerprints.
If they come to arrest me, you'll defend me, won't you?
If that happens, I think you'd do better pleading with Edgeworth. Wait, I think I know what it is. I have to go back to Edgeworth's room. Make the trophy look like a central plate. I can see that. Because Edgeworth crumpled up that letter, right? And it's on the floor there as a new thing. But probably I need Edgeworth to have left the room so I can pick it up. I assume Phoenix gets by because very occasionally he gets a client who can actually pay him. No, he's just a defense attorney. He just takes on the few cases that come through. Oh, damn, Edgeworth is still here, though. Maybe he won't mind if I take this. I wonder what he was writing before.
Come on, Mr. Wright. Let's take a look.
You crazy? Edgeworth is sitting right there.
Just distract him. I'll check it out.
Hey, Edgeworth? Is that Detective Gumshoe out the window there? Oh no, he's falling to the ground. Hold on.
First, let me see what this girl's doing crawling around my feet. He didn't even look.
What? Letter of...
If you're having trouble reading, I'll read it for you. It says letter of resignation. Resignation? Edgeworth, you don't mean... I'm tired, right? I feel as if something inside me has died.
But Mr. Edgeworth, none of it is your fault.
I know the path I've walked. You don't need to tell me. And the path I've walked hasn't been a just one. I can't forgive myself for what I've done. No one else should forgive me either. Uh-oh. I think he's serious.
Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something.
This letter of resignation. Wonder if I can use it for anything. I'm such a dumbass. Of course, this is what I needed to use to get Gumshoe on my side. Edgeworth's discarded letter of resignation. He's serious. They say where there's smoke, there's fire. Apparently I was so caught up in the smoke, I lost sight of the truth. Edgeworth, the others are right. I have no right to serve as a prosecutor.
Mr. Edgeworth, you were only doing your job.
I've always made my own decisions about what I can or cannot do. That hasn't changed. Forgiving myself is something I cannot do. Uh-oh. I think he's serious.
Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something.
Letter of resignation. I'll never use it for anything. Hey Miles, remember how I saved your life a few months ago? Good times. What I do like about this. So this right here, that they're adding some stuff for what changes show Edgeworth your badge. I already did that earlier. I'll do it again for you, Darth. Isn't actually. Maybe I didn't do this earlier. Maybe we'll piss him off enough to reconsider. I once dreamed of being a defense attorney a long time ago.
What? You want to be a defense attorney, Mr. Edgeworth?
Yet a clear path is laid out before me. I have no time to look back on what might have been. But they're using this case to kind of add to his arc. Because basically in the second game, Edgeworth shows back up, and his whole thing is, well, he's still a prosecutor and he'll still be aggressive. The idea is he wants to find the truth behind every case. And it's where Phoenix figures out he needs to do that too. I really like the last case in the second game. I'm not 100% sure they actually properly nail that dynamic with Edgeworth for other reasons involved. But I think it's ultimately a good part to be where he ends up. And it's ultimately how they, in the best cases, when the defense and prosecution are going back and forth, that is what's happening there. They are fighting each other to work together to find the truth. I was banking on him getting angry enough to prove Phoenix is a bad attorney. Alright. Well, now that we have the evidence we need, so Gumshoe will help us. Let's get him in trouble. Oh, man.
What's this crumpled up piece of paper? No way. Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious.
Is he ever not serious?
Well, I can't believe they pushed him this far.
Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible.
When I first met him, I thought he was as cold as ice, too. But I know different now. He trusted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence, but we betrayed him.
Detective.
That's it. I've made up my mind.
But
Here, take my ID card.
We can't do that. If someone found out...
They won't let you off the hook with another lost item report.
Look at me. It's no secret I'm already out of the loop. After all, I'm friends with Mr. Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I may already be as good as terminated.
What?
So at least let me do this, for Mr. Edgeworth's sake.
All right, Detective. Thank you. Also, Gumshoe's around for the other Phoenix games. He does not get fired. Now, for the sequel trilogy, the Apollo Justice trilogy, that might be different. Although I think Gumshoe's at least talked around enough. He's still working, but they have refused to show us what 7 years later Gumshoe looks like. Gumshoe's ID tucked swiftly into pocket. Gumshoe's ID, a police department ID card, allows access to areas of the police department open to detectives. I love this clear image of a copied Gumshoe portrait. And we can read police department, but then they obscure this. Although we can read, it says Sergeant Dick Gumshoe and it gives us his ID number too. Okay.
Detective Gumshoe isn't very photogenic, is he?
Whatever you do, just don't say that to his face.
Look, his eyes are half shut.
Yeah, and his mouth is half open. Guys, neither of these statements are true. I can see what he looks like in this picture right now.
Hey, each of his shirt buttons is off a notch.
He doesn't have shirt buttons. And he's got the narrow end of his tie in front. Well, okay, that looks to be the case now that I look closely. I think this goes beyond being a photogenic issue. Poor Gumshoe. Use your imagination. Look, all I'm saying is if you're going to actually use an image for something, maybe you should have the characters describe the image you're using. Okay, can't investigate this. When an ID card have his given name, is his name not actually Richard? I wonder if, yeah, I guess it might actually just be Dick. Like, I think but this is a police ID too, right? I mean, certain IDs, they'll let you just put, like, whatever name, right? But you would think for a police ID, they would use the full thing. Alright, well, back to the chief's office. February 24th, Police Department, Chief's Office.
Here goes, Mr. Wright.
Why does even the door unlock with a big ominous click?
We're in.
You ever watched Third Rock from the Sun? John Lithgow's character was named Dick Solomon. Oh. I actually don't think I've ever actually seen an episode of Third Rock from the Sun.
We're in. If anyone finds us now...
Detective Gumshoe's a goner.
Now, if that happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out.
Eek!
Ah.
The only time someone called him Richard was when they thought he was someone else by that name.
Sorry, I thought you were a ghost.
I didn't even know you could slap a ghost.
Ah! Detective Gumshoe? What are you doing sneaking up on us like that?
I wasn't sneaking. I was just worried something might go wrong. So I came too.
If you're here, then what's the point in giving us your ID card? Gumshoe's ID crushed and rendered unusable in pocket. Science by his ghost touch.
Hey, don't do that to my card.
Like, I know Gumshoe thinks he's gonna get fired, but that was pretty mean of Phoenix.
I hardly ever get a chance to come in here. So I figured I'd have a look around myself. Besides, we're all in this together now.
You really do want to get fired, don't you?
Not if we're lucky. Now come on, let's see what we can find out.
Got a bad feeling about this. Do you have new talks? He does have new talks. I mean, it's a small miracle he hasn't been fired. Well, he will let them cut his salary down a lot. So I guess at this point they don't fire him because he's incredibly cheap to have working for them. But, Chief's office. That desk on the other side of the room, was that your sister's?
Yes, that's where I was waiting for Lana. On that day 2 years ago.
Is anyone using it now?
No, sir. This is entirely Chief Gant's office now. He practices a strict policy of preserving the crime scene.
That's a strange reason to leave it there.
He leaves it as a warning to everyone else. He wants us to always be on alert. He told us so himself at our New Year's party. Of course, he was pretty intoxicated at the time.
I see.
So ever since Lana left, no one ever touches that desk?
No one except Chief Gant, and the cleaning lady who's in here each morning.
That isn't ominous. I mean, look, this is the man who moved the giant pipe organ into his shared office. He clearly does not care about things being ominous or not. Still, 2 years have passed since that incident. There can't possibly be any clues remaining. Also a bit creepy. Yeah, Chief Gant.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
You only came here to look around, right? Because it's one of the SL9 crime scenes. I mean, that's your only reason for coming here, isn't it?
Why do you ask?
You don't think... Nah, you wouldn't be... No. No, there's no way. Never mind. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Now then, let's look around a bit more.
Hey, hold on. Not so fast, buddy.
Huh? What is it?
When someone tells you don't worry about it, it's supposed to start bothering you, pal. You don't just let it go at that.
Sorry. This guy's starting to get on my nerves. Okay. So what's bothering you?
You two don't think Chief Gant might be a suspect, do you?
What? He's right, Mr. Wright. What do we think of him?
Chief Gant. So it's finally come to this. Of course. Have you guys looked at his design, or heard his music, or seen the room he works in? What do I think of him? Perhaps it's best I don't divulge my feelings. Yet.
Oh, there you go, ignoring me again.
Examine. People with orange skin are never untrustworthy, right? Oh man, that's a good point. I was thinking about that, but it is definitely on the oranger side, doesn't it? Also, I think he's deceased, so it's just darkened out, but the fact we've seen Joe Dark's face so much, but in the profile hair, it's just deceased. Serial killer responsible for the SL9 incident 2 years ago was given the death penalty. Damn spray tan. Neil Marshall, deceased. Prosecutor murdered 2 years ago in the SL9 incident. Jake Marshall's brother. Ooh. Sorry, I was just arranging myself a little. This is the real deal, isn't it? This armor and these weapons.
Sure is, pal. The chief doesn't care for imitations.
First the pipe organ, now this armor. Do you know how many taxpayer dollars must have gone into this room?
What? You mean we're paying for this? That's it. I'm not paying 1 cent of my taxes.
You don't have any taxes to pay yet.
Shh, be careful of what you say. Who knows? The chief may be hiding in this armor as we speak.
I don't think he'd fit in there.
Even if he did, he'd never be able to get back out.
Cut it out. You guys don't know how scary that guy can be.
Alright. Damon Gant has to have another form of income. Because even with all the money they must save on not paying Gumshoe anything besides just the paltriest sum, there is no way any chief of police would be paid enough to have not only a real suit of armor, as well as these other souvenirs we see in here, but a goddamn entire pipe organ.
You can see pretty far from 15 stories up.
Why is this office 15 stories up? I mean, Von Kermer could. Von Kermer was a prosecutor. Now, admittedly, it sounded like he might have only done criminal cases, but at the same time, anyone who's a lawyer or attorney, they can also just do civil cases, and that's where you can make the real big bucks. You get a lawyer fee out of a multi-million-dollar settlement, that sets you a good ways. They're like a dozen empty stories below his office. His organ playing is terrible. Oh man.
You can see pretty far from 15 stories up. If you were to drop that suit of armor from here...
At first, the chief wanted to use stained glass for this window.
Really? Why didn't he?
They say he changed his mind because he wouldn't be able to see the view.
Oh.
Stained glass or not, it's a huge window.
Wow, look at the size of Chief Gant's desk.
Speaking of that, we were here earlier.
Oh, it's you two.
Chief Gant, he put that paper he was reading in his desk. I wonder what he was reading. This looks like a list of evidence.
A list of evidence?
In most cases, the list runs twice as long as this, though.
Hey, look at the case name.
Huh? SL9 incident. I wonder what this is doing here.
And he has it facing the desk Lana sat at. I repeat myself, creepy.
Yeah.
Hold on, detective. What did you just say?
Well, I said, I wonder what.
No, about evidence lists. Normally they're twice as long.
Well, that's right. Well, I guess there wasn't a lot of evidence.
Half-size list of evidence. The list of evidence, it seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. What would the other half of the list be doing here?
We knew it. The chief must be hiding something about that case.
It would appear so. Evidence list added to the court record. List of evidence in the SL9 incident was ripped in half, so this part is all I've got. Can we really not look at what the list of evidence is? Oh, right. I wonder what this is. Looks like someone drew some kind of sketch here.
What is it? Did you find something?
I can't make it out. I'd better keep quiet about it for now, and not show it to Emma, who told me about the fact she made a goddamn drawing for them as evidence 2 years ago that they couldn't use because it was bad for some reason. God, it's fine. It's because it's for the trial. Whatever. Huh? Oh, no, it's nothing.
Why are your eyes moving about like that, Mr. Wright?
I'd better not forget about this picture. Also, I like how I can look at that, but I can't look at any of the... Yeah, whatever.
Wow, look at the size of Chief Gant's desk.
Found this inside the drawer. List of evidence from the SL9 incident.
Mr. Edgeworth had the other half of that list.
What would this list be doing here? We better look a little more into this list. So just look at the rating this game got. In the US, it was rated for teens. Japan for 12 plus. Alright. Seems mostly pretty fair, you know. 12 plus is almost teens. No clues here. I wonder if I'm just looking at things a little deeper. Oh, I mean, there's that too, right? Like, obviously, part of the writing with this game too is it is not necessarily written for the most adult evidence crowd. If I'm just looking at things a little deeper, if I'm right, or if the writers are actually hitting it what it looks like they are. With Gant having his desk facing Lana's. I don't think it's that. But it could be. Gant's kind of weird in general. Because that seems really, really... I mean, I was going to say creepy, but you might have another adjective you were going to go for. Compulsive. It could. I don't think that is what it is, but also that might come up in the final trial day. This is a safe, isn't it?
Safe? That word is ripe with intrigue.
Okay, if you say so.
It looks like a code needs to be entered in this panel to open it.
A 7-digit number. I think I just might know what it is. Like he needs it to be his. Input number.
Do you know what it is?
I have a hunch.
Oh, I know. You want to try my birth date. It's...
I have a better idea. Here goes nothing. 69, 420, 69. I'm actually going to back out of this right now. If I can. Can I back out of this? Okay. I'll put in the wrong number. 8675309. I mean, I can put in both of those. Like, obviously, it's almost definitely going to be just the full 777s, because we're pretty sure that's what Gant's number is. Code input error.
I guess that wasn't it.
I was so sure that was the number.
Maybe we should check the court record again.
7-digit number. I'm not putting in the 7777777 because I want to make sure I look at the rest of the room first, just so we don't miss out on anything. This goddamn pipe organ.
The chief's organ sure is a sight to behold. Yeah, same thing I say in the locker room.
Gumshoe, please.
Occasionally we hear him playing it from the criminal affairs department.
That's on the 2nd floor. And this is the 15th floor of an entirely different building. Dill, it turns out you were both even more accurate than you might have thought. And also, wow. I mean, I know mine is wrong. I just did because that damn song won't leave my brain. It was going after it came out. I mean, of course, it's a good song. You gotta call it for a good time.
When a detective screws up, the chief calls them to his office and makes them listen to the organ for hours.
What's so bad about that? Music soothes the soul.
After that, the detective can't hear anything for days except for the ringing in their ears.
So it's an instrument of punishment, literally.
But aren't the chief's ears affected?
He never listens to anyone anyway.
That's beside the point.
This was taken on that day 2 years ago.
The day Joe Dark ran out of the questioning room and tried to kill Emma.
After receiving his award trophy, Mr. Marshall took a picture here. I went along with Chief Gant to question Dirk. I bet he never knew he'd be dead just a few hours later.
Gee, you think? Does that mean... Wait a second. Oh no. Looks like they might have moved some things around, actually. These shelves are mostly empty. Lana must have cleaned them out when she transferred over to the prosecutor's office. There's a small picture frame on the left shelf.
Hey, this is when Lana and I went to that theme park.
Aww.
Look at that giant window. Makes you want to crash through it and jump outside like Leon Scott Kennedy from those Resident Evil games.
This is the 15th floor.
I know, I was just saying, like Leon Scott Kennedy.
Gumshoe, are you okay? I mean, he might be worried about being fired. Seems a tad suicidal. Saying what?
Ever since making detective, I've always dreamed about doing something like that.
Note to self, Detective Gumshoe has a lot of dreams.
As long as he doesn't go crashing through that window when he gets fired.
Don't say that.
Holy shit. I think they did just make a suicide joke there. That's pretty dark for this game. Okay, joke might be a strong word for it, but...
This mark looks like some kind of flower.
Or it is, it's designed after the insignia on the prosecutor's badge.
Prosecutor's badge?
Yeah, like the one hanging from your collar.
What? They have badges too?
The design is supposed to portray the severity of the punishment system.
Now that you mention it, it does look all pointy and kind of painful.
But Mr. Edgeworth never wears a badge.
That's because he's a sharp dresser. A badge like that wouldn't go too well with his outfit.
So sharp dressers don't need to wear badges.
I guess everyone just kind of lets it slide.
I don't see how that's supposed to signify severe punishment. Like, Phoenix's world is rocked by the idea you could have a badge showing your job and you wouldn't show it off at every chance you get. This was Lana's desk. It sure is tidy.
Lana's always been a meticulous cleaner.
There's not even any dust on it. Looks like someone's still keeping it clean. Does Lana ever come back here?
No. Chief Gant must still keep it clean in memory of their partnership. Or because he's compulsive, like Darth was saying. They were the stuff legends are made of.
Does he keep it in memory of her? Or in memory of the crime? Alright, I think I got everything there. Which means, now we'll do this. Save, yeah. I mean, there's also a few differences of the word, not just the obvious. Yeah, I kind of figured. Well, it is probably almost all sevens who will do it. We can also, for fun, put in 8, 6, 7, 5, 3, 0, 9. Okay. Now for the actual one that I'm pretty sure it is. Unless secretly it's going to be one of the other numbers, but I think the part of why they made his number all sevens was also just to make it really easy to remember, too.
Code confirmed. Access granted. Dramatic zoom in. Bingo.
What number did you enter?
Whose birthday was that, pal?
77777777. The final ID card number on that record.
What?
The number of the mysterious executive officer who entered the room that day. July 77, the year 7777. Man. In the very slight alternate timeline where COVID lasted that long. Kansas is a huge Final Fantasy VII fan.
You mean 777777? That ID number?
I think you're 17 shy this time. This can only mean one thing. That's Chief Gant's ID number.
Say, anyone care to look inside?
Is there any money in there? How much does he have stashed away?
Look, it's
A shard from a broken cup.
This somehow looks familiar. Where have I seen this before?
there's something else in here too.
What's this? It looks like a piece of leather cloth.
This is a handprint, isn't it?
Hey, I saw someone wearing a shirt like that once. You think the chief made up the design?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, it was just a thought.
Is that it? This is all that was in the safe?
Apparently so. It's empty now.
A piece of cloth with a handprint on it, and a broken shard from a cup.
They look like pieces of evidence.
Yeah, unless you can prove they have something to do with this case. I'm afraid I can't just let you take them. After all, it's my neck on the line here.
Great. Now I have to prove their relevancy to get them. How are these two items related to the SL9 incident?
Come on, there's gotta be something we can show the detective.
Alright, well, first things first. We can do the easy one. Detective Gumshoe, could you have another look at this chair?
I remember when the three of us put that back together. Ah, those were the days.
It's kind of early to be nostalgic.
Wasn't this chair a piece of evidence from that case?
That's right. One of the shards had an SL9 incident sticker on it.
Doesn't this ring any bells? You know, that fragment we just found?
You mean this one that was in the safe?
Yes, that one. That was in the safe.
Now that you mention it, it's ringing a lot of bells. Let's see if it fits.
Assemble fragments. If he mentions that I'm watching a Highlander series on the TV next to my computer, that would be an amusing crossover. It would be something different. Here, let me see that shard. I'll take a crack at this.
Go ahead, pal. Show us what a rookie can do.
Mr. Wright, here's some glue.
If I can piece this together again, it'll prove Chief Gant was knowingly hiding evidence. Here goes. Wow, so much hard work and gameplay went into that moment just now. There, it fits like a charm. That, of course, means Chief Gant willingly and knowingly hid a piece of this jar in his safe. In other words, he concealed a piece of evidence from the SL9 incident.
But
Hey guys, get a load of this.
What is it?
This piece you just attached. It's different from the others.
there's a reddish line on it.
Reddish line. That's blood.
I don't get it. Why would Chief Gant hide this in his safe?
Unstable jar update in the court record. Evidence from the SL9 incident. Final fragment found in Chief Gant's safe. blood traces. I mean, I can maybe... Will this work for the other thing?
If I'm fired, I won't be able to give you any information. That's why I have to get it all out of my system now. You understand, don't you?
Don't be so negative, Detective. We do want you to share your information, though.
Oh, who am I fooling? I've never had anything useful to share to begin with.
Arg, got to stay positive.
Oh wait, maybe actually the trick here is I need to present fingerprints. Detective Gumshoe, I'd like you to have a look at this.
Hey, I know what that is. So you want to take some fingerprints?
That's a great idea, Detective.
Alright, go to town. Sheesh.
What are you doing? Why are you sticking out your hand like that?
Go ahead, take my fingerprints.
It's not your fingerprints we want to take.
Huh?
Come on, this isn't the time for jokes. We're talking about that cloth we found in the safe?
Oh, heh. I knew that. The one with the handprint on it, right? Sheesh, where's your sense of humor?
Okay, Mr. Wright, let's check for prints. Sprinkle the powder on the cloth, then once they've been absorbed into the prints, blow the rest away.
What are you, my mom? I'll have to be told a million times. Alright, let's get this over with. Well, this middle finger looks the most like... At least it looked the most clear to me, but who knows. Just adding all this here. Oh, I missed a little bit. Like right here? No? Here? Here? Oh, wait, no, probably here. Alright. Oh. What could it mean? Right, it's Emma's. I never trusted that science, Maya. This is maybe the biggest connection between SL9 and DL6. But I'm fine with that because it makes it immediately sympathetic with what's going to be happening here. No. How can this be? What are Emma's fingerprints doing here?
Hey, you found a match? Whose fingerprints were they?
Huh? Oh, it seems the prints are too old. They aren't clear enough to get a match.
Oh, that's too bad. I thought they'd be Dark's prints.
Psst. Hey, you. Over here. What's going on here? What are the kids' prints doing inside the chief's safe?
Don't ask me. Let's just keep this information from Emma for now.
Here. Maybe you should hold on to this.
Piece of cloth folded and added to the court record. Found in Chief Gant's safe. Evidence for something, but what? There's Emma Sky's prints.
Well, was I any help?
This is a handprint, right?
Yeah, someone left behind an oil stain on the fabric. Whoever it was, they must have had a really oily hand. Damn you, Science Maya. Who has apparently very oily hands, or at least she did when she was 14. I mean, if she was 14, she would have been in puberty then. Yeah, probably all of her was oily.
Mr. Wright, think about it scientifically.
Ugh. One of the advantages of being older is being past stuff like puberty. Huh?
A more likely explanation is the person slipped and fell on a freshly waxed floor, getting wax all over their hand.
Well, that would account for this amount of oil, I guess. I don't see what's so scientific about it, though.
It happens, you know. I always slip on the floors at school after they're waxed.
It's not like this is your handprint, Science Maya / Emma. Of course. Thanks to your ID card, we were able to get some hard evidence. Now that's not very kind, is it? And I'm gonna assume this is Gant anyways. If it wasn't for his ID card, he would have been useless. Isn't that right? You in the coat.
Eek! Chief Gant.
We didn't think you'd be back so soon. Fortunately, I'm a man who believes in signs. As I was walking to my meeting, I happened to look out a window and saw a stray dog run right into a pole. Just then I thought of a certain detective.
Do you mean me, sir?
Now then, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you all to leave.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Oh, you in the coat.
Me, sir?
Drop off your ID on the way out. You won't be needing it anymore.
But, sir...
Now, get out. Like, look at how not evil and trustworthy Demon Gant looks in this image they drew of him.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
We'll be on our way too then. Wait, you, the one without the spiky hair. Don't go yet.
Me, sir?
I'd like a word with you.
But, sir, I'm not a licensed scientific investigator yet.
You with the spiky hair. You're free to go.
Mr. Wright!
And Science Mile was never seen again.
Look, pal, if I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. The chief's office is off limits. But no, you just had to go sneaking in there like that, didn't you?
I thought you said you didn't care anymore if you were fired.
Yeah, but if I knew it'd be like this, I never would have said it.
Now that I've seen the evidence Chief Gant was hiding in his office, I think I'm finally starting to get the picture. But why has she kept eerily silent about it all this time?
Anyway, you listening to me? Or I'm gonna try to smooth things over with the chief again. Later, pal.
After that, I heard from Emma. She said the police wanted to ask her some questions, so she'll be busy for the rest of the day. We don't have any Maya with us. It's okay, I think we're mostly done with this anyways. February 24th, Detention Center, Visitor's Room. I see. So the chief asked Emma to come in for questioning. It's no use thinking about it. Tomorrow's the final day in court. I'm committed to doing everything I can to defend you, which is why I'm here. But I've already told you all I can. What you've told me over these past couple of days is absolutely nothing. Not a single useful thing. Really, I believe I did mention something quite important. Something I told you right at the beginning. I said that I was the one who stabbed Detective Goodman. You know, I think I finally figured it out. I know who it is that's lurking behind your words. Mia did a good job mentoring you. I'm rather jealous. It seems Edgeworth was right. Edgeworth? Once you're convinced you know something, no one can persuade you otherwise. Thick-headed is the term he used, I believe.
Now's my chance to get her to tell me the rest of the story. Keeping quiet. I have to admit I was more than a little perplexed at first. You insisted you did it, yet there was no incriminating evidence. That's when it hit me. It's not that you're unwilling to tell the truth. It's that you're incapable of doing so because of a certain individual.
What an intriguing notion. A certain individual, you say. So you think I am protecting this person?
Protecting?
No, I think afraid of is more like it.
If I'm not mistaken,
The person in question may have persuaded you to silence. For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, whom may I ask is this person you're speaking of? The one I am supposedly so frightened of. What is this person's name?
well, Miss Guy,
Mr. Wright, you are addressing the chief prosecutor.
I was definitely about to say the brief prosecutor, which, whoa, what a thing to stumble over.
You are addressing the chief prosecutor. Do not forget your place.
I take it she's still not ready to spill the beans.
Oh, my apologies. Could you please tell me a bit more about what you think you know?
Damon Gant.
We were partners until 2 years ago. I respected him as a detective.
Assuming he is respectable, then tell me something.
Why would he try to hide his crimes? His crimes?
Both you and Edgeworth will be brought before a board of inquiry for what you did. Specifically, hiding and forging evidence.
Well, of course, these are serious offenses. Why is it, though, that Chief Gant's name was never mentioned? Well, Chief Gant?
Edgeworth didn't know the truth behind the forgery.
The only party who could have possibly tampered with the evidence was me. I had access because I was second in command of that investigation.
Yes, you, but also one other, Damon Gant. Stop trying to look cute and surprised. You're not distracting me.
If you intend to accuse Chief Gant, you'll need more than just words. Show me proof that Chief Gant falsified evidence in that case.
Evidence from the SL9 incident. Final fragment found in Chief Gant's safe. Blood traces. I just found this in a safe in the chief's office. This jar piece and this piece of cloth. Also, I was saying it earlier, this is definitely like a Magatama style interrogation moment, but without the Magatama in play. But this is like exactly how it would play out in later games. Do you know what these are? They're pieces of evidence from the SL9 incident. Like right now, you should be getting ready for one of her psych locks just break. The person concealing evidence was none other than Chief Gant himself. Now tell me, why are you taking all the blame for him?
Touché, Mr. Wright. It's as you surmised. I cannot disobey the chief's orders, even if it means being found guilty for murder.
Why not?
Calm down, Mr. Wright. You can't possibly expect me to be able to tell you that. 3 days ago, I had no choice but to cooperate.
In the murder of Detective Goodman.
Or perhaps I should say, follow orders. Yes, that's more accurate than cooperate.
Orders.
Although I can't tell you the details, I can say that I was given an order that day.
I need you to dispose of Bruce Goodman's body. You'll find it inside the trunk of Miles Edgeworth's car.
Just as I suspected, despite what everyone believes,
You are not the one who murdered Detective Goodman.
correct. I was trying to take the body out of Edgeworth's car. The trunk's lock was broken, and I discovered that murder weapon while inspecting the body. The murder weapon? You mean Edgeworth's knife? No, when I found the body, this was the knife stuck in it. The knife from the SL9 incident. Serial killer Joe Dirk's knife. I couldn't just leave that knife in him, so I took it out and stabbed him with another knife. That would be Edgeworth's knife. That's right. Even though he was already dead, my hands were shaking at the thought of stabbing him. That's why I ended up cutting my hand. And that is the reason for the bandage on your right hand? Yes, it seems I got blood on the victim's shoes as well. And then she saw me just as I plunged the knife in. Mister, huh? Why did you need to hide Dark's knife so badly? It took a lot of work to finally close the Dark case 2 years ago. It was over with. I didn't ever want it to be opened again. My intent was to prevent that, by whatever means possible. So, you hid Dark's knife. The weapon used to stab the detective was evidence in the Joe Dark case. If word got out, which it would, the reporters would have a field day with that. So you wrapped the knife in your scarf and hid it, in Edgeworth's exhaust pipe. Alright, then I called my sister to tell her what happened and to ask her to hide the knife that was inside my muffler. You asked Emma. I didn't want anyone on the force to know about this. That would explain why Emma is so confident about Lana's innocence. Well, speaking of phone calls, I had a bad feeling about one of them that day. A bad feeling? But the truth is, after I received those orders from Chief Gant, the first thing I did was make a phone call. A phone call to Patrolman Jake Marshall. To Marshall? Why on earth would you call him? The lead investigator for the SL9 incident had been murdered. I wanted that fact to be kept hidden, and I needed help. He was the only other person I could trust. Or at least I thought I could trust him at the time. However, it seemed that after I spoke to him, he went off on an escapade of his own. Oh, you mean... Not wanting the case to die, he decided to take things into his own hands. He disguised himself as Detective Goodman and tried to steal the evidence. He had already stolen the ID card, but it seemed he still hadn't made up his mind to break into the evidence room. After my phone call, many remaining doubts he had must have disappeared. Part of me almost wonders if this case was originally written to only be a long 2-day case, and then they were like, let's make this even bigger and add the motion with the Blue Badger video, and they inserted that whole middle day in. I don't even fully mind that middle day, but in the long run, it is kind of like, it's just kind of filler that lands in the middle of this case. I mean, you could say the first day is kind of fillery too. But also, you need to be introduced to all the characters, so... After my phone call, any remaining doubts he had must have disappeared. So your phone call caused the incident in the evidence room. I'm afraid that's all I can tell you. But Lana, you've earned my respect, Mr. Wright, both as a defense attorney and an investigator. And now please, don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow. Tomorrow's trial. There's only one way to drive off Lana's demons. I've
Got to get to the bottom of everything. Detective Goodman's real murderer. And what went down in the chief's office 2 years ago? To be continued. Gets vials of holy water ready for the demons. All right. Phew. We have reached final day trial former. So I'm a tiny bit conflicted because I should probably actually start this, but also it feels real dumb to just, because I would take a small break here, right? And come back to only do like 20 minutes of this final day. But I'm like 90% sure I probably can't finish the trial all in one stream. But hopefully I'm wrong. I mean, obviously, if I tried not to press everything, I could, but I mean, staying with the same methodology I've been using. So, hopefully, maybe it's shorter than I think it's going to be. And if not, this might spill into next week too. But hey, thanks for hanging out with me. We've learned some interesting things. We know more about the way this SL9 case has shaped this current one we're on. And next time, we might not get to the end, but I think we'll get a pretty good idea of the truth behind it all. Until then, thanks for hanging out. And welcome to Earth, even though it seems weird to say that. And good night, everyone.